This is Devin Kraft from the Science Faction Podcast. You're listening to the BS Podcast Network. Enjoy the show.
Hey man, what up? You're listening to the Magic Our Way Podcast with your hosts, Kevin, Danny, Eli, and Lee, man. These are some good old boys from New Orleans, and you should just kick back, open your ear holes, and listen, man. Have fun. JMU saying, snooch to the dooch.
Jumbo, everyone.
Harambe.
And welcome to another edition of
The Magic Our Way.
Magic Our Way.
Magic Our Way.
Magic Our Way.
The Magic Our Way Podcast. They are truly magical and whatnot.
Asante San, everyone. You are listening to the Magic Our Way Podcast from New Orleans, Louisiana, in the United States of America. We are artistic buffs talking about Disney stuff, and this is the show in which every opinion is welcome. MagicOurWay.com is where you can find us. Today we are talking about controversial Disney topics. My name is Kevin.
And I'm Danny.
And on this show we follow the Disney concept of edutainment, where we focus on your entertainment, and along the way you just might learn a thing or two.
Hey.
And as always, to join in our discussion, we have our resident comic genius from ivorycomics.com, Mr. Eli Ivory. How you doing, sir?
Oh, doing good and sweating bullets because of that heat out there. How y'all doing today?
Ooh, heat, hot.
Push.
And of course, joining us on this show as well is our resident travel agent from Magical Moments Vacations, the Shaggy TA, Lee Lastavica. Hey, Lee.
Hey, man.
Hey, man.
How's it going? Hey, man.
How you doing? You hot over there in Houston?
It's a little warm. I mean, we've been getting a lot of rain, but the rain stopped, so you know how that is. It's like now it's 1,000 degrees outside and it's humid. So
you getting that beard sweat?
Yeah, under the chin sweat.
Wow.
How do you handle that?
Ain't even got a mask on. I just put some deodorant on there. It's all right.
You just rub some right guard on your neck.
Yeah, just spray it.
Oh wow.
Some degree.
Don't put a match to it, though.
Aerosols.
I understand. Yeah.
So hygienic.
Yeah, lovely.
So where it counts, right? I hear you.
And of course, fresh off the boat with the Pirates of the Magic Kingdom, where he serves as quartermaster, I should say. We have our very own Officer Mohican and Mohican social media master, Kirk Landry. Welcome back to the Fat City Studios, sir.
Serving. I like to serve.
Serving?
Serving. You said that's where I serve. Serve as quartermaster.
You like to service the listeners.
Serve to live to serve, man. That's a good motto.
To protect and to serve.
Bring you back to something, you know.
Yeah, Police Academy.
That's it.
Citizens on patrol.
Citizens on patrol.
And guys, a couple of things to keep in mind. Make sure you subscribe to us on YouTube, and you'll find more full episodes of this show, as well as a new show just for YouTube called Cooking with Magic with our very own Lee. Lee, you got one coming up soon, sir. Yes? What are you cooking next for us?
So the next one should be, and I may have mentioned this, but I pushed Eli's turkey leg episode ahead of that. So the next one will be the firecracker duck wings from Carthay Circle that we had on our Disneyland trip, which is honestly one of the best things I've ever eaten in my life. So it was really good, and I did a pretty good job, I think, in making the recipe. So check it out. When it comes out, you'll be able to make it at home yourself.
Oh, it's already been filmed. It's in the can.
Yeah, it just needs to be edited a little bit.
It's in post, as they say in the industry.
It's in post.
It's in post.
Yes,
As a tour?
As a tour. That's right.
Mm-hmm.
It's in post. Guys, look, today on this show, right here, right now, we're about to talk about some controversial Disney topics. Today, we are talking about controversial Disney topics, specifically the stretching room scene in the Haunted Mansion. So, guys, enough of my jibber jabber. Let's go discuss some magic. Welcome to The Q, and this is a segment in which we get to discuss the news and happenings in the world of Disney today. Mohicans, ladies and gentlemen, since many of us Disney fans have been on lockdown and or in quarantine, the easiest thing for us to do is discuss things, I should say, and many times those discussions turn into full-blown arguments thanks to the veil of social media. Recently, as of this show, discussions have boiled over Splash Mountain and the Jungle Cruise, and now this, the Haunted Mansion. Today, we present a news story that Danny had brought to our attention titled, Should Disney Remove Hanging Body Scene from Haunted Mansion? This article was published by Inside the Magic back on June 29th, 2020. Now, I know for many of you, and we included, of course, the name Inside the Magic carries a lot of different connotations today than it once did when Ricky was running things. So you may be asking, if you have such a low regard for Inside the Magic, why discuss this at all? Well, I will get into the details of this article very soon, but first, as a courtesy for the first-time listener, and perhaps a reminder for some of our veteran listeners, I want to remind you that Danny and Officer Mohican, which is why he's on this show today, are huge fans of the Haunted Mansion attraction. Isn't that right, y'all?
A little bit.
Just a little bit?
A little bit.
Yeah, just a little bit.
Have you seen this studio?
Have you seen Kirk's arm?
Have you seen what I just brought?
Yes.
Have you listened to this show in the past?
And speaking of listening, you can hear their fandom on shows number 294 and 295, titled Ghosts of Haunted Mansion Parts 1 and 2. So before we get to the crux of this article, do we have any opening statements that anyone would like to say regarding this whole idea before we get into the details? Or do y'all want me to get into the details? It's up to y'all.
Kirk, do you have an opening statement?
Opening statement?
No, I'll let you take this one. I'm sure you have a prepared statement.
I don't have a prepared statement.
You do have?
I'm just going to wing that mother.
Oh, go ahead.
I was going to say, do you just want to let him say the details so you can feel the
I
ambiance?
defer the floor to you, sir.
Well, you know what? I do have an opening
Oh, you do have an opening statement. Okay.
Take your time.
You have the floor, Counselor.
Okay, take your time, sir.
Yeah, if I can quote Popeye, that's all I can stand, and I can't stand no more.
Skip, bop-a-doo, bop-a-doo.
Spinach.
Yeah.
That's my opening statement.
I like that.
Very good. Anybody else?
I am what I am.
Yeah, just what the hell. That's my opening statement. What the hell?
What the hell? All right, guys. So look, I'll read the initial forum post that was referenced in this article. Inside the Magic states that this discussion was conducted on Reddit, but I've only been able to find this in the WDW Magic forums. Regardless of that, what I'm about to read is the crux. The rest of the article that Inside the Magic post is just responses that were made to that initial post. So here we go. Is everybody ready?
Sure.
Go for it.
This is the one that launched everything. And so this was posted back on June 26, 2020 by a user by the name of Brer Oswald, who is labeled as a well-known member of the WDW Magic forums.
Brer?
Brer Oswald, as it were.
As in Brer Fox, Brer Bear.
Yep.
Brer Oswald.
Yep. Brother Bear.
He's in the rabbits.
So yes.
Yes, and it looks like he has some kind of Oswald mixed with Brer Rabbit, whatever you call it, avatar for his post. It's interesting. Yeah.
Okay.
So I pulled it straight from
I
the...
find that offensive, by the way.
Do you?
No.
You have something against rabbits?
I do.
I mean, like, I feel like defending the Easter Bunny sometimes, but... Hey.
Yeah, no, he breaks into my house every year, leaves eggs everywhere. And
never leave me candy I like.
No.
Just stuff that make me crap weird.
Like Peeps?
Yeah.
Rabbit turds all over your car.
Right?
Crazy.
Leave them everywhere. Don't even leave you a sign that says I'm sorry.
No.
Offensive.
Offensive?
Very offensive.
Well, we're off to a great start with this one.
Yeah.
So wait till you hear the rest of what he posted. You ready for this?
Go ahead.
Sure.
Okay, so I'm reading this straight from the forum post, so I'm not embellishing anything. It says this. No, seriously. If we're talking about the most overtly offensive scene in a park attraction that could pretty easily be changed, it's this scene in the stretching room. You all know it. The one where the ghost host says, "Of course, there's always my way," and flashes to a hanging body. Why is this problematic? And he indicates the list. A. It trivializes suicide as a joke. B. It's gruesome. C. It features a noose, which ties into lynching. I'm not joking here. I do think this should at least be up for consideration, as it would only take a small script rework and a removal of the lighting flash that makes the body visible. And he leaves it at that. There you have it. There you go. What are your thoughts?
So he wants to not illuminate. He wants the body to be up there, but you don't illuminate it.
Yeah, because that'll
say,
make a difference.
Of course, there's always my way, and you look at a ceiling.
Yep.
Gotcha.
I mean, it's almost something that if you're not aware of what's supposed to happen, because for years, when I would go in, I never noticed the body.
Nope.
I was always into the photo, like the paintings and stuff and the voice and the room stretching. I never noticed it until years later. And even then, from the vantage point,
Right.
I'm just going to say it. Yeah, if it's supposed to be regarding lynching, is the dude Creole? Because he don't look like a brother to me, which is what I would affiliate that with. But you can't see anything.
No, you see
from looking
feet.
up at his feet. Yeah.
Yeah. You definitely can't see a noose.
Right.
That's just ridiculous.
And then it's supposed to be, it's haunted. It's not supposed to be something where you go in and like what lightning is cracking. There's paintings and not. You know what should be offended? The people on the paintings.
People in the painting?
Yeah.
Oh, the stretching portrait people.
Stretching portrait people.
Yeah,
thank
those
you.
people right there that are in the studio right next to you, to your
there
left.
you go. Thank you. Perfect. I mean, like, should we be offended by them? I mean,
That was trivializing somebody getting blown up.
That's right.
That was trivializing a woman who killed her husband, allegedly. That one's trivializing this woman who's tightroping over an alligator, which is just stupid. And that was trivializing guys in quicksand, and they're happy about it. No, you're sinking. Look, the guy on the bottom. He's all like, get me out of here. The other guy on top is like, hey, I don't care about you. I'm good.
See, I see it like this. The first one with the two men, like the man sitting on the other guy, I'm taking offense to that right now because I'm looking at that as a show of poverty or something. You saying that the man at the bottom is it's the middle class man, the working man, getting pushed down through the sand by the rich man. Now I'm offended.
That's a good analogy. That picture right there is society nowadays. You see the guy on the bottom, he's a working man.
That's right.
Yeah, you got to hold the rich man up on top of him like that.
That's right. So now are we now offended
That's
by
a good
that?
analogy. I like that.
Is that just a painting of two people?
The one next to the guy with the getting blown up.
Yeah.
He's in his drawers. That's obscene. I shouldn't be seeing that.
I should not be seeing that.
That's a really good point. I didn't
That's
realize
right.
this was such a Rorschach painting that you could really pull from it like what you feel.
See that?
You're getting the feels.
Yeah.
I'm offended because I personally wear tidy whities, not boxers. As a person that wears tidy whities, I'm offended by this man wearing boxers.
Boy, I'm glad you shared.
I know.
That mental image is now there.
There you go. Merry Christmas. I mean, look, the lady that's like, she's on the tightrope and there's the alligator. You know what? That's offensive to the alligator.
That's offensive to people from Louisiana. We're trying to say we stupid enough to do that kind of crap.
Exactly. But what about the alligator? Who's to say he's trying to eat her?
He might be trying to yell at her. Hey, woman, you sinking. Get off that damn
Get off the
that
road.
wire.
That's right. He is put in a negative flight.
He's like, you're not Mary Poppins. That umbrella won't help you fly away. Because if you fall in here, I am an alligator. I will eat you.
I think
I
he
see
said,
you
I
up there.
won't eat you, but there's other alligators that just might eat you.
You're looking all tasty up there.
And Kirk knows alligators.
I was going to say, you from the bayou. I feel what you're saying, but like, maybe he's a good alligator. Maybe he's that one alligator out of
Like
all
Lewis?
alligators. Yeah.
That might be Lewis.
And he's just like, hey, look, run. And, get off the tightrope. Why are we painting this alligator back? This is offensive to all alligators. And unfortunately, alligators can't defend themselves in this light. Now, how crazy did all that just sound right now?
Not very crazy, man. I was following your logic.
I like the first one about the three guys in the quicksand. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, I like that. I'm good with that.
So get rid of that and the hanging scene to go with it.
I'm just saying if
Cancel it. That's what they're saying right now.
yeah, I'm just saying
Cancel it.
if you're taking the actual mystique, you're taking the actual mystique out of it. And this is y'all's thing. I just happen to know I was gonna use the painting. I knew I was gonna do that, but
Yeah.
Well, it's like a slideshow presentation.
yeah, it worked out.
It's better than a PowerPoint. Yeah.
Exhibit A, right there, boom.
Exhibit A.
Yeah, and it's the Haunted Mansion. It's not Club Paradise. You know what I'm saying? Like you're gonna see spooky stuff. You're supposed to see stuff that freaks you out.
Yeah.
Well, and it's not just that even. I mean, it's like name an attraction in the Magic Kingdom. Any attraction, you could find a way to be offended by it. Pick Big Thunder Mountain.
Yeah, Big Thunder Mountain.
How many people lost loved ones who were miners with they had cave-ins or black lung or something like that?
Oh, railroads to be built. You are talking about a bunch of different minorities that got blown up because they put them in like a bucket.
Oh yeah, and all the Native Americans that had to be relocated, tens of thousands of Native Americans.
Yeah, the real reason that the mountain is Big Thunder is haunted is because that's sacred Indian land.
Yeah.
You got this guy come along, took over the mountain, mined all the precious minerals out of it.
Mm-hmm. Precious.
Yeah.
Is that part of the backstory, or you're saying that that's a rumor that it's haunted? Was that
No, that's part of
That's part of the
backstory.
backstory. That's why the mine was having all those incidents.
But
that's why they keep having accidents and stuff.
Yeah.
because
Right,
of that.
yeah.
But back
Because-
then, that's how those railroads were built, like in real life, right? I mean, they would lower somebody down with dynamite, and they'd have to drop them, and if the fuse was lit too early, sorry, boom, you're dead.
There's no workers' comp back then.
Right, there's no right. So that's any person of any nationality that was used to build those things. They died for that. So
Absolutely.
right. So now what do you want to do? So we just like wipe out all the rides together?
You might as well, because if people are going to be offended by suicide, well, I got news for you. More people die in automobile accidents, so I guess we got to get rid of the Tomorrowland Speedway.
There's no reason we should get rid of that.
Yeah, Test Track, you're gone. No, that's a great point. I
Because
mean,
my uncle died in an automobile accident. I know people who died of cancer. Do I want them to redo the beginning of Guardians of the Galaxy because I don't want to see that woman in the bed dying, Peter Quill's mother, and be reminded of a relative that might... I mean, when did we get to this point where people feel they have a right to not have their feelings hurt?
well, I think if they want to address something with their feelings, just take it out on something that, like Bruce Lee would say, boards don't hit back. Take your issue out with somebody that can talk back to you. Don't take it out on a ride or an attraction, something that's been built since before you were born, and then say, hey, I'm going to change it because now I feel vindicated. No, go talk to some suicide hotline and say you want to volunteer with them. Or, if you're against something with race, go ahead and talk to your congressman or whatever. But an attraction won't change anything.
No. I don't know of a single person that this is going to make commit suicide. I don't know of too many people. I mean, I guess like if you knew somebody who did it.
Yeah.
And then maybe if you saw, like even knowing somebody who did it, you'd almost have to see the body to have like a flashback of it.
When I was little, I never really knew where to look. I didn't know what everybody was looking at. But then when I did, I didn't realize there was something hanging there. I just I didn't know what that was. I thought that was a ghost floating around.
It really is, yeah. It's one of those effects that by the time you kind of realize what it is, you've kind of matured to the point where, I get it. That's what that is. And you can handle it. The people who cannot handle this aspect of there's nothing that we can do, anything and everything that might potentially remind, we might as well get rid of pirates because I'm sure somebody's grandfather was an alcoholic. Mm-hmm. Maybe somebody had an arsonist in the family.
Somebody was in a pirate costume, Halloween, passed away.
Right. Once you start down this path, there's no end in sight.
See, the thing is, to me, is like if you are, if that's that big of an issue with you, I wonder if you are personally maybe volunteering for suicide prevention hotlines, if you're involved in some way with that. Again, if you want to talk about the alcoholic figures and pirates, are you involved in your local AA meetings? In other words, like, what are you doing outside of the parks that maybe would be more beneficial than trying to, how do I say it? Like,
then
well, they're not coming from a place of they don't know that they're coming. They probably think they're doing good with it, right?
I don't think they do. I think
I think they are. I think they are. They might be trying to come from a place of good with it to say, hey, this could improve people's lives if this weren't there. I don't know. I'm giving them the benefit of the doubt. Okay?
They lash it out. They emotionally lash it out. That's what I would think on that.
Or it could just be somebody trying to start
that
could be too. Which is probably more the accurate answer, right?
But yeah.
All I'm saying is that if you want to play devil's advocate or if you want to look at it from their perspective, so to speak, what are you doing other than complaining about a park attraction to better this situation? Okay. And you could be spending your energy on much more important things and be more effective than trying to take something out of a theme park. Do something else with your life than be on the internet complaining about, Disney. Like, get involved in your neighborhood and get involved with these groups that can actually do something that's beneficial for someone who may be suicidal.
If that's your hill to die on,
right,
so to speak.
Or and then I'm sorry, I meant to make this point. And if it's really that bothersome for you, then don't go on the attraction.
That's where I was going with that.
Ask the Raz. She basically had said before that she would not go on Pirates because of that scene. That really offends her, and understandably so. So her choice is, I still love Disney. I don't like that ride though, so I'm not going to go on it.
All right, so Lee, you talked about the Raz's opinions. You talked about this person's opinions and what they're doing. I want to know what your thoughts are on this. How do you feel about this particular thing, about what this poster has said?
Well, as I may have said this before, like I really try to be that person, or I have the habit of being that person that sees it from other people's side. Like,
and that's exactly why I want to hear your point. I'm curious to see what you think.
So, I know I'll just go back to what you guys said. Number one, I don't even know what this was about. Like, I didn't even know this was such a thing. And I don't remember actually seeing anyone hanging. Like, I don't remember seeing a noose. I don't remember seeing anything like this. So obviously it's not so in your face. You know what I mean?
Okay.
So, like I said, I understand where people maybe have a problem with it, but I personally don't. Especially because it's not out of theme and it's not out of what would be appropriate for that attraction. If you went to Muppets and you saw someone hanging from the ceiling, that might not be the best place for that joke somewhere. You'd have to really be able to defend that joke.
So you're calling it a joke? The hanging
No,
thing?
I'm saying like if it was in the Muppets and they tried to make some kind of a pun out of it, then that might be a problem.
Okay.
But
What Muppet would they
you're
hang?
in the Haunted Mansion where you would expect to see quote unquote scary stuff.
Oh,
Okay.
Why would you not expect to see ghosts, and why would you not expect to see scenes of death, and why would you not expect to see different things that might be a little creepy if you're riding the Haunted Mansion?
no, that's the total theme of it. I mean, like, why would I take some sort of enjoyment away from you because it reminds me of something that's not good? If you have an issue about something like this, it's better to just deal with it in the real world than taking the enjoyment out of, like you two gentlemen, like the attraction for what it is. That's taking the enjoyment out of going to Disney, out of seeing the attraction away from you.
Well, it's like, I couldn't agree more with what Lee said. Yeah, put your energy into doing something positive with it instead of just complaining, because there's a difference between critiquing and complaining. Mm-hmm. It's one thing to critique. That's what we do on this show all the time. Something happens, we'll critique it. And generally what you're critiquing is the quality. When you're complaining about what something represents to you, now you're so subjective out in the weeds, and the idea that we need to go ahead and get rid of something because you feel like you have a right to not be in any way offended, touched upon, triggered by some memory of something that might have happened to you or happened to someone you know. I mean, that's why I think, this guy is either trying to stir up something with this post. I mean, because if you're a Disney fan, somebody who posts on, you can't see a noose. You can't even tell who the guy is. It's a split-second kind of thing.
You got good hair, though, whoever the guy is.
I can't imagine he was doing anything other than trying to troll.
Well, this came right after the whole Splash Mountain thing. So he's like, "Hey, there's a bandwagon. I think I might jump on it with my own thing."
Yeah, and that's the danger.
Or
of
let me
free
just
press,
see if I can piss these people off.
Right, if I can start a whole new thing, because then I could be that guy. He's clapping somewhere in his dark warehouse, because he hasn't left his seat like 20 years.
Now there is a member of the Mohican universe who does have something against, not say against, but that she doesn't. That's Suzanne, I believe.
Well, that's for something different.
She will not go on the Haunted Mansion.
That's for visual purposes.
But still, I don't hear her like that legitimate personal reason about, hey, let's close the whole Haunted Mansion down because I can't enjoy it.
And she a woman about it. She a Mohican about it.
Right.
When you go to an attraction, there's always a sign out in front. It's a bunch of warnings. If you had high blood pressure, heart conditions, motion sickness, you should not ride this attraction. Maybe that's where we need to go. Maybe we need a new set of warnings. If you are easily offended, triggered, or all up in your feelings, take cartoons too seriously, whatever it is, don't ride this attraction. Maybe that would work because it seems to do just fine. You don't hear people with heart conditions saying, I demand you take that drop out of Splash Mountain.
Yeah.
I can't ride it.
Yeah.
And I'm pissed.
That's it.
Or I demand you take the motion simulation out of Dinosaur because I've got motion sickness and I want to ride it.
Right.
It's not fair. This is a family park and I should be able to ride that too. You don't hear that. People with life-threatening conditions aren't about changing these rides.
Can I tell you every time
people
I see
who
that?
are in their feelings are, though.
No,
Sorry.
because every time I see the dancing couples in the Haunted Mansion, the dancing ghosts that are spinning around, I get dizzy all the time. Don't see me fussing about it. There you go.
You get vertigo watching those guys?
Yeah, it always freaks me out. They're like,
I couldn't stand the Primeval World. I didn't want it to go. I mean, I shouldn't say that. I didn't mind that it was going to go, but I never campaigned for it to go.
Never wished for it to go, yeah.
Right,
Yeah.
exactly. But I mean, there's just tons of attractions like that all in and around the parks. The Barnstormer, it's about getting in a plane and crashing into stuff.
oh, boy.
Oh, my God.
Yeah, don't be a Richie Valens fan.
I was a big Bopper fan, actually.
I love La Bamba.
That was a good one.
Well, look, I've considered this person's post, and I think it's stupid. I'm sorry.
How do you feel completely about it? Like,
No, I think it's ridiculous. I think it's ridiculous. And what I wanted to do is kind of round this out discussion addressing his 3 points, shall we? First of all, his first point says it trivializes suicide as a joke. I never took that as a joke. I never took that as any kind of a joke. I thought it was more gruesome or just like scary than anything.
How do we know it's suicide? How do we know he wasn't
He says
killed?
He says this is my way or something like that.
Yeah, he's right. There is a heavy implication that he chose to do this.
Oh, so that's him speaking of himself.
Didn't you listen to their show? They did it. They talked
I was
about
going
it.
to say, I was there. I was there for
A
that.
long time ago, man. This is pre-COVID.
Well, then you need to go back just like our listeners and listen to that show, 294, 295.
I like how you did that. Here's the reference. In case fellow co-hosts, you forgot what they said.
No, but honestly, I never took it as a joke. Officer Mohican Kirk, did you take it as a joke?
Not that as a joke, no.
Danny?
Never once. I just thought it was meant to be creepy.
Eli?
No.
Lee?
It's definitely not made in jest. It's not to be funny.
Okay, cool. And his second point, it's gruesome. Well, for me, yeah, it's a freaking Haunted Mansion. What do you expect? Kirk?
Yep. Supposed to be gruesome.
Danny?
Absolutely.
Eli?
I mean, I've seen more than that for gruesome, but yeah, it fits the story. So yeah, it's horrible.
You've seen some things, man?
I've seen way more gruesome things than that.
What about the bride who's chopping off heads and you're seeing pictures of people with no heads?
That's gruesome.
Yeah, as a man, I'm offended by that. There you go. I'll divorce. It's tough.
As a podcast host who had the bride on the show, I'm offended by that.
That's it.
You're lucky to get your head chopped off.
Yeah, I've had my wallet cut in half because of that.
Lee, what do you think? It's gruesome. What about that point?
Well, I would agree, I guess.
You would agree that it's gruesome?
Yeah, sure. Why not? I mean, but it's appropriately gruesome.
It fits the
Yeah,
story.
it fits the theme of the Haunted Mansion.
It fits the theme. It's laid out well when he introduces it, and so yeah, it's like, oh my god, it's shock factor, you know.
And his final point, it features a noose which ties into lynching.
That's where I think this is all a joke, where he's just doing something to stir up controversy, to get people talking,
Yes.
and he's just sitting back, laughing his butt off as people are going off about it.
Yep.
And watching, actually, some people actually do say, oh, he's got a good point.
To that I say no.
No.
you know? Then you have to say, well, Jesus, crucifixion. That reminds me of crucifixion. My Lord and Savior died. Got to get rid of that.
That's gone.
No more crosses?
No more crosses. No. We can't even make the sign of it. Forget it. It's too horrible then, I'm not saved anymore because of that.
Yeah, no, you will always be saved,
Yes,
Kevin.
yes.
We're here to save you.
Kirk, what do you think of that?
No.
No?
That's ridiculous.
Danny, you said no, right? For that?
Absolutely not.
And Eli?
I have seen. This is terrible to say, but I have seen a lot of photos and stuff of brothers that have been lynched. That does not even touch the photos that I have seen. So no,
So you're saying you've never been triggered by seeing that?
no.
Yeah.
And I guess I should be, but I'm not because it dude's a troll. I know. I mean, that's the part where I read that the most, and I was like, the out of here. Like, wait, have you seen actual pictures? Like, they don't look like that. So no, I don't buy into that.
I don't want to go by your house anymore. I'm afraid there's like a coffee table book of lynchings or something.
I had a. This is a tangent. I should say it after the show. I guess I'll do that.
Yeah,
but,
that was a joke. It was a joke.
But no, I've seen different. I tried
It's
to
out
hit
there
on
on
a
the
girl.
internet.
I
Yeah.
tried to talk to a girl once, and it shut me down on Facebook because she had actual lynching pictures on there. And she said something. I was like, "Hey, come on, it's not that bad." And then, bam, she unfriended me. I was like, "Man, you wrong, but yet you still hot. This is a cold world."
Your other brain was taken over, right?
Yeah, but I left her alone. So yeah, from what I've seen, no. If he wants to use that as an excuse to propel his, theory forward, don't use that because it won't work.
Lee, what about you, sir? What do you think of that?
Yeah, I'm agreeing with all you guys, but I would just make the point and reiterate what Eli said, or I don't know if you meant to say it this way. This is the way I heard it. Was like, when you trivialize something like this and try to make it into something it's not, then you are doing injustice to the actual, atrocities that have happened in the past.
That's well said.
When this has nothing to do with that, and you're trying to tie it into that, then you're not doing any justice to those instances.
Things would actually happen. Yeah, that's
right.
right.
That's a very good point, man. Lee's on his game today.
Yeah.
Well way to put it.
That is excellent. Yeah, and I think we should end on that note because that was a very good note.
Yes, thank
you
you for letting me get that out because I appreciate y'all.
Feel better?
I do.
Is there any closing statements that anybody would like to make?
In the instance that this is real and this guy is real,
The guys you're saying in case this guy is actually being genuine with his thoughts?
exactly.
Okay.
That's a better way to put it, Kevin. There used to be a thing that used to exist when we were younger, where when bad things would happen to you, you'd go to your mom and like that, that's not fair. And they'd be like, life's not fair. Tough. Because I said so, that kind of stuff. And that was all part of what they used to call building character. It was learning to adapt to the idea that life isn't fair. It's not always going to go the way you want it to go. I just think we're seeing a rising, if you will, of soft individuals who are all up in their feelings, who've never been told, rub some dirt on it.
Put some
Walk it off.
Stand up, walk it off, rub some dirt on it, and keep moving forward. Focus your energy on the big things, because if you can't handle the small bullshit, you have no chance in this world.
Yeah, I would say my final closing statement would be this. If I had to jump into a world where I had to believe this individual, I would need more backstory. You just don't throw out the most horrible possible things that come to your mind and then say, yeah, it's connected to that. Tell me the story. Tell me about the person you knew that did this. Yeah, tell me the glory. Tell me the person that did this atrocity that you saw. Or tell me how you were in the early ages when your ancestor got lynched. Or tell me about how, somebody committed suicide by this right. Like, in other words, don't just throw out these 3 random things and be like, there you go, controversy. Now I'm walking away and getting a donut. Be real with what you're going to do, because you're affecting a lot of people and how they enjoy something particular. That's like being the Grinch, pretty much.
I like how you phrase that. What makes you such an expert?
Yeah.
That your opinion that we need to go ahead and get rid of this is the right course of action.
Yes.
I like that.
That's just true, baby.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, my closing statement is I've considered your point and I disagree. Plain, flat, and simple. That's it.
There's a difference between disagreeing and saying you're wrong.
Right. Yes.
Yeah, disagreeing means that he has a point. He has no point.
No, he's wrong.
Just obliterated any point that he might have had, because all 3 statements were all wrong.
They're all wrong.
Yeah.
Kirk?
I don't even know why this got traction the way it did. Journalism sucks nowadays. People who want to write articles go on Twitter and they see somebody else about something or saying something, so they report that. That's not journalism anymore. Nobody does actual journalism and tries to get their own story. They just report on what other people are about. That's what this was.
Yeah, I agree.
Cheers.
And one real quick final point to those who might be sympathetic, because a lot of people, here's where there is genius in what this guy is doing. People who are prone to being sympathetic, who want to empathize with people who are struggling, they see this and they try to take it seriously. They try to see their point of view, and they're like, okay, well, maybe you do get rid of this, and maybe if it helps 10 people, well, that's 10 people who don't have to worry about being triggered in any kind of way. To those people, I just be careful what you change now, because it doesn't stop. And I guarantee you, there's not one single ride in the Magic Kingdom, one single attraction. There's not one that you couldn't say there's some element of offense that could be taken by it. If you really looked at anything under the microscope, who created it, where it came from, what scenes it pulls in, who can't figure out a way to cancel anything, and just be wary. I didn't think 25 years ago when I was going to the parks that we would be in a point in time where we were looking at what we're looking at now and being like, this is wrong. But that's what happens, is as time goes by, your ideas become outdated.
If you want to think about it, I mean, we can go back and we could take just almost every land in the Magic Kingdom and say, okay, Main Street USA is based on a turn of the century small American town. Back in that time was still whole Reconstruction thing. It was still
Post-Civil War stuff?
Yeah, Civil War stuff that was still going on. So that's wrong. Frontierland, American West, Indians, stiff. That should be canceled. Adventureland, you're taking advantage of, again, colonialism, Polynesian. Hey, speaking to you.
Pointed right in Kevin's
I know,
face.
he did.
Hey, you're Polynesian.
I know.
That was like Hulk Hogan hulking up.
You got a haka.
Liberty Square, that's the 1700s?
Oh, that's, yeah.
Yeah, that should be going too.
Gotta go.
Only thing that shouldn't be canceled is Fantasyland, because it's made up.
No. So, look, Seven Dwarfs Mine Train, that Dwarfs, that's offensive.
That's offensive. Yes, to little people.
Helpless women and stuff.
Right.
You know, have
Yep.
to be saved by some prince.
They don't need no man.
Peter Pan. You got all the Native Americans in there.
And do you really want people jumping off of buildings thinking they can fly? Children? No, you don't want
I don't
that.
want kids thinking they can fly.
Yeah. Winnie the Pooh, bear with an eating disorder. We're mocking that. Eeyore's got depression. That's being. It's cute. He's
Ariel
sad.
under the sea. I don't want my kids onto the sea. They can't breathe. You're not a mermaid.
Not only that, would you want a story? You want your daughter following a story about a woman that leaves her family and changes who she is to please a man?
Yeah, just for a man.
Just for a man.
For a man.
And like, you know what? I don't care. You wasn't that good looking anyway.
Dumbo? Not only you got the racist crows, but I mean enslavement of animals in circuses?
Just because he got
true.
big ears, you'll make fun of him, put clown makeup on him. And
Yeah, that's
shit.
right. He's not Will Smith.
This is true.
It's
This
all
is
wrong.
deep.
And you go put the Casey Jr. Who's Casey Jr.? I don't know who he is. I never met him. Who's Casey Senior? We're going to tangents.
A real big
Tangents.
train.
Casey
It's so
Senior?
long right now.
I know,
Senior,
but you
yes.
see though,
Casey Jr., man, that's again enslavement of animals in the circus. That's slave ships. Slave trains.
Slave ships.
Slave trains.
I'm offended.
Transporting animals
Slave ship.
to do things. The carousel, man. Why are we domesticating horses and riding them?
Why we got horse? Horse supposed to be in the wild.
This is Amistad for animals going on right here.
Amistad for animals.
That's right. Animal style. It's
AFA.
terrible.
We didn't land on a small world. A small world landed on us.
Yeah.
And they got that shop with Tinkerbell in it. You know what I remember about Tinkerbell? Peter Pan did that to her.
That's it.
On the ass.
That's
That-
it.
that-
I
that's
mean,
wrong.
is Peter Pan like? Is he like part pedophile? Is he like part R. Kelly because he got children following him? Nah, I'm
Is he
offended.
part R. Kelly?
You see what I'm saying? Like it gets
Deep.
Yeah, it gets deep. Like if you want to find something negative or like something that can say, "Hey, get rid of it," you can. Because let's face it, this thing was made by people, and people are not perfect. They just wanted to make a thing where people can go ahead and get away from their troubles, not a place where the troubles literally follow the people. If it offends you to see, and I'm bringing it back, if it offends you to see this man hanging, and it's not even a real man, it's just a doll, whatever, with good hair.
With good hair? You notice
Really
that?
good hair.
Hashtag just a doll. I like it.
And so don't go. If it bothers you that much, cool. Don't go. But don't take away somebody's ability to work hard for however many months, tell their kids they got something nice for them, and then they bringing their family over there, and then their family can't see anything because the fucking thing is shut down because you was bored on Twitter because you wasn't getting no that night, and then decided to everybody vacation up.
What else in the show?
That's just how I felt. I'm sorry.
No, I'm glad you got the vitriol out.
You said dolls. I don't. Dolls scare me in Small World. I don't want Small World no more. And then at the end, you telling me goodbye with my name on there. Why the you did that?
That's voodoo.
Well, what about that Enchanted Tales with Belle? I don't want my daughter learning that, hey, if you meet this guy who's physically abusive and mean and angry and throws you into prison and enslaves you, you should find the soft side of him.
How many times I still wake up in the cold sweats from stitches jumping on my shoulders and with a hot dog breath in my face. I don't like that.
I don't want that.
That's made me feel good.
But going back to what Eli said, again, I don't know how people walk around the parks and see this much ugliness and return. Like, I walk in there and I'm filled with wonder and happiness. I don't see this kind of ugliness. And if you are seeing that in a theme park, probably money better spent going other places.
Agreed.
Yeah, for me, it's like, you can only control how things affect you, and that's it.
That's it.
It's just like maybe you're listening to our show right now and you hear our words. Only you can control how those words affect you.
That's right.
Truth.
And if it affects you, then that could be something you have to address on your own.
And let's get rid of the Mad Tea Party, too, because making fun of people with mental illness is not good.
It totally is not.
That's right.
It's a ton. It's a ton.
Don't even get started on Carousel Progress.
That's a whole
Yeah, I know.
other
People
show.
getting squished by walls. I can't stand that.
So, I guess that's a future topic. Rides that should technically offend you if you're overly sensitive enough.
I'm saying that there's not one single one that if you didn't think hard enough, you could come up with some reason.
Totally agree with
Yeah.
that.
When you're looking for it, you'll find it.
Totally agree with that.
And if you be curious to hear your thoughts, listeners, about this particular topic, and I'm sure we'll hear some, and we're looking forward to it. What are we missing? If we're missing anything, let us know. Show at magicourway.com. And our next news story, guys, this is something I posted in our Magic Our Way Pleasure Island Facebook group. If you're not part of that party, make sure you come join us. There we discuss anything and everything regarding the world of Disney. So one thing I posted there is in regards to Orlando Sentinel article about Universal Orlando Resort. Last Friday, from when this show was released, Universal Orlando Resort laid off an undisclosed number of workers a day after its parent company revealed that stark financial picture of the coronavirus impact. So it's definitely something that we were, been kind of watching and monitoring and seeing if how this pandemic would affect the parks or the parent companies, as it were. Universal didn't say how many people were laid off or in what departments. The notice had not been filed with the state Friday, but news of the layoffs circulated through social media, of course. So that's coming down the pipe. For those employees that were laid off, the company will provide severance pay, subsidize health benefits, and reemployment assistance, is what Universal spokesman Tom Schroeder said in an email. So definitely something that's happening that Universal announced will be going down. With that, there was a rumor, but actually Danny posted this the other day, and after I posted that Universal article, it was like, well, here we go, that there may be the same thing happening over at the Walt Disney Company.
Oh, boy.
And this was discussed in a forum. Again, WD Magic forums, the same thing we took the last thing on. But this was a discussion on this by a user by the name of Phoenix. I think I'm saying that right, but it spells a little differently. But the title of the forum, well, this particular forum was titled On Layoffs, Very Bad Attendance and Iger's Legacy Being One of Disgrace, is what Phoenix titled his particular thing. And in his article, they're talking about all different kinds of cuts and whatnot. And among them would be Bob Iger on the chopping block.
He all right.
Is he? Oh, yeah.
I'm sure financially he's all right.
Exactly. He all right. He was going to retire anyway.
And he probably knew this reinstatement wasn't permanent, right? He was just temporary through all this, and then he knew he was going to be out of there at some point.
Yeah, he was helping to transition the other Bob.
Yeah, I don't even know if he was reinstated. He was reassigned, but he was still over at Chapek. But even though Chapek had the title that he formerly held, it was kind of confusing.
No, it made crazy businesses. They were like, oh, we're not ready for Chapek to come in when such a big event is going on. They had no confidence in him. So they were like, well, Bob, just come back for a little bit, help coach him. But it's like, who is prepared to coach for a pandemic?
Yeah, nobody is.
Exactly.
But having said that, there are certain things that Disney did leading up to this pandemic that made it hit a little harder.
Okay.
That made it hurt a little bit more. I mean, when you spend, what was it, $72 billion on Fox, and you still have no idea what you're doing with those properties, I mean, I'm still waiting to find out how that was worth that much money.
It's true, they haven't even used all of Lucasfilm.
No.
I was going to say.
I mean, The Simpsons is on its last legs. You would hope by now. I mean, they're both them and Family Guy, they're having to get rid of characters just to kind of keep up with this new mentality? Is
mindset?
That the right
Yeah,
mindset?
maybe,
There you go.
Yeah.
They're already changing their shows just in order to try and adapt to modern times, which kind of gives you an idea that, those kind of shows who do that kind of humor, their time is kind of limited. If they haven't overstayed their welcome, they're pretty close to it. I don't know. What else did they get from Fox? What on Disney stuff, like stuff that would never appear on Disney Plus, I wouldn't think.
X-Men movies,
but that franchise has been
kind of dormant.
Yeah, well, not dormant, but I mean,
bad.
Recently bad. I mean, you almost have to allow a little time for it to go away, so that way people can miss it a little bit and want it to come back. I mean, it's a little soon to reboot that when the Dark Phoenix movie is still
nothing good about that.
No,
nothing.
And as a comic book fan, when you're like, you know what, I think I'm just going to skip the last couple of them, that says something.
Well, the Apocalypse one was terrible. I like the characters that they had in there because those are some of my favorite X-Men. But the movie itself was like, Apocalypse is supposed to be bigger than everybody. He was like the same size. It was like,
it was Poe Dameron.
He was Poe.
Oh, he need to not work there no more. No offense to Poe Dameron, but no, I'm sorry, that didn't need to work there. I mean, they don't. That's a lot of money to invest in something that you don't really need at that point. But that's unfortunate that the average man has to suffer for it.
Mm-hmm.
Their first bid was like, what, $50 billion or something like that? And then Comcast, I think, raised it a little bit. And then next thing you know, they're all the way up to $70-something billion just to get this property. But to spend $70 billion right before this happens is not a good thing. Secondly, I mean, we've talked about it a gazillion times on this show. I mean, they just keep raising prices on the park goers without really giving them any new reasons to come back until recently, where now they've started with Rise of Resistance and Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway and stuff like that. But for years, the parks, there was not a whole lot of improvement done, and a lot of people were just kind of sitting back and like, you know what? We're just going to wait until all the really good stuff opens for the 50th, and now you might not even have that.
Right, let alone some kind of 50th celebration. Isn't that crazy?
Right. So, yes, the pandemic is not their fault. There's no way they could have foreseen it coming, but the way they were managing this company, where every time a little bit of money came into the door, they figured out a way to go ahead and purchase something new in their desire to become more than a family entertainment company, but to become an empire with your hands in every aspect of entertainment. It's made it to where it's hit them a little bit harder than everyone else, I would think.
Isn't Marvel, Lucasfilm, your own brand, ain't that enough?
That's exactly it, and that's the problem, is that when they should be cultivating their own properties and really kind of creating their own content, they're just like, you know what, we're going to purchase this, and we're going to get this, and we're going to get... Now you're responsible for all these different entities that you've got to develop, some of which, I mean, don't they own Aliens now?
That's Fox.
Yes, Fox. Yes,
I
Fox.
mean, can you really picture Disney doing something with Aliens?
They used to be, it was called Alien Encounter without actual... tiger aliens.
Yeah, now they can use the alien in Alien Encounter, but that ship has sailed.
If that means that they're going to take movies that have been made famous by Fox and then try to do some crazy redo with that, then yeah, you've lost me already.
Well, I'm just saying, like, all their movies, can you picture Die Hard on Disney Plus?
That's what I was thinking. But I'm thinking not only Die Hard on Disney Plus, but I'm thinking they go like, oh, we're gonna redo it with Zac Efron, as John Kelly, and I'm like, I wouldn't see that. And no, you're just doing it a disservice. Like like Commando was by Arnold Schwarzenegger. Who are you gonna put in place of of that? Like if that's their plan to do what they've done with, say, the new franchise of Star Wars. Man, I got $2. I'll buy a Fox from you right now.
I just think they've overpaid for it, and I just think they have no idea what to do with it yet.
Yeah.
I think the idea was that, okay, well, at some point in time, we're going to be able to bring the X-Men into the fold, and we'll be able to capitalize on that. And obviously a couple of other properties as well. But for $72 billion, I don't remember how much it actually was.
That's crazy.
That's an obscene amount of money. And for years, all they've been doing is taking your hardcore park-going audience and just killing them. The Disney vacation you used to get such value off of, now you feel it as you're paying for every little thing, and that same vacation is now at least $1,000 more than it was 5 years ago. And the attractions to be seen between then and now are few and far between. I think Bob Iger has just been a terrible CEO, but
he's on his way out. Like that's kind of like the thing, right? Like
but they got to clean. The company's got to clean up his mess now.
That's exactly it.
Yeah.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
His desire to make Disney a global empire has threatened them in a way where they should have had some money on the books where something like this. I mean, don't get me wrong, Disney's not in danger of going bankrupt anytime soon, but there's already talk of them selling off their assets. There's talk of them shutting down the parks on certain days because the overhead is just too much.
Hopefully they sell some of their stuff for $80 billion and they make a recoup.
Yeah, I don't think that anything has happened to make those assets more valuable.
Right.
Since they've paid top dollar for it. I mean, really, they looked at what Fox had to offer and they said, you're worth like $58 billion. And Comcast is like, we'll get involved in this and see what we can do. And I think they came in at 60-something, and Disney is like, all right, we'll go up to 71 or whatever it was.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's crazy.
It's nuts. One of the things I was worried about when they bought all this stuff is like I didn't want to see Disney spread themselves too thin when they couldn't make a quality product.
Great point.
On anything. And I mentioned this on a few shows ago, or whenever that show. I don't know, maybe the conversation might have started when we first started this podcast. But yeah, that was one of my main concerns with this. And to your point about raising prices and stuff and passing the cost over the consumer, I mean, look, we're not businessmen. For the pixie dust, we're not choosing the bad. We're not choosing the good. We're choosing the facts, right? And if you keep raising money, there's going to be a point where people won't want to spend that money because they can't. And then, so how do you save yourself but to sell off things?
That's it.
And that's what it looks like that we're headed to. And it's nothing to be shocked of. It's that you should maybe expect that. And the reason why I bring this up, this particular article, is because we have been tracking how Universal and Disney are handling this whole situation of the pandemic. We've been doing it for the past 3 months or so.
Like we had a choice.
Yeah, and we know that Universal's doing this stuff. It's been reported by the Sentinel, and it's only a matter of time before Disney follows suit, because they tend to be kind of, it seems like they're going along similar paths.
Well, they're following the playbook, so to speak.
Yeah.
And it's like Iger's doing what I think the shareholders are like. I'm sure he didn't look at a piece of paper that had like a whole checklist with boxes that were empty and some were checked. Like, oh yeah, let me buy Fox. Let me do this. Let me do that. I'm sure people were like, well, look, here are the numbers, this and that and the other. And I'm sure a deal like this probably took some time, and it just so happened that towards the end, the time it got bad.
I question how much Iger's involved these days.
That's a fair point, but I mean, like now it's a bigger company. They have stock. There's probably somebody out there we don't know of that has a huge investment in Disney property. Probably guy sitting right across from me right here. Mr. Kirk right there, getting it all in there. There you go. What's up, Baller? What's happening?
Baller.
Five. I have 5 shares. That's
All
it.
5?
You broke.
five.
You lost it all.
Oh man.
Well, look.
Better keep watching Family Guy.
Well, they have that like call meeting thing, whatever. There's something coming up soon. If the stock might be going down on 100. If that happens,
I'll be buying some more.
I'm going to be buying some more stock because it will rebound at some point.
Yeah, it'll take some time for something like that.
That's exactly it. It's going to take a little bit of time for that to happen. But I mean, that's the thing, man. The more stuff you buy, the easier it is to not make anything original and of your own. And that used to be what Disney excelled at, is being able to create stuff on brand.
Very true.
Whereas they keep purchasing things that are off brand. And as for Iger, I got to imagine that there's a group of people sitting there looking at him right now. It's like, let me get this straight. You didn't do anything to prepare us just in case there was a dip in business?
Yeah, because he brought them. You got to remember, though, right? He brought the money in the beginning before all this stuff. So it was like, oh, this looks good. These numbers on paper look good. But then in execution, well, what happened?
It came up short.
Right.
Well, there's that aspect of it. There's the aspect that we're very tied into China right now. And that means embracing a lot of their politics.
Oh, and then they export, and if whatever the value of their money is to ours, yeah, that could be kind of messy.
And that's been problematic. And now there's talks of them having to divest their interest in China just because of how messy that situation. I mean,
woo-wee.
Disney was like, we're going to change Splash Mountain. China was like,
don't do that.
Well, it wasn't China. It was the Oriental Land Company. It was Japan.
Yeah, it was Japan,
because they have the
I'm thinking of.
majority ownership of,
Right, but I mean, these other parks across the seas are like, look, we're not throwing money away just for no reason. I mean,
we gonna let people die. We ain't worried about giving up.
Yeah, okay. Just because 10 people on the internet are upset about this, we're not spending millions to redo something.
And they don't have the cultural history with all that America does, right?
Well, their people listen. Their people, their government is like, look, this is what's happening. Like, if you see any kung fu movie, people will get fucked up.
Right.
If you just like, hey, look, I'm gonna challenge you. Like in America, you can challenge somebody, they'll placate that.
Yeah.
But over there, you're like, yeah, well, you ain't gonna see your grandma tomorrow. You know, like you gotta.
Yeah,
be careful
it's a different thing.
Different
it's
culture.
Like Americans with that can't be so ethnocentric to where they think whatever happens here should affect the other parks.
Right.
It doesn't, because they don't have the issues that we do with it that we do.
Well,
no, they
the
don't.
Culture is totally different.
Right.
That's my point.
Yeah. No, I agree with you. Yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah, I agree with you.
But that's the thing. If you're Disney, I mean, racism is racism. It's like, how do you explain why your park is running Splash Mountain in Japan while in America it's considered racist? It's a hard thing to explain.
Yeah.
The point being is what you saw overseas. You would see them taking risks in the overseas parks. Like you saw Tron open there when Tron wasn't a big entity here. You saw Mystic Manor opening over there. A bunch of different attractions that really weren't tied to the new Pirates ride, Ratatouille. Like a bunch of different attractions that really tried some next level stuff was being done overseas. That really seemed to be where they like to try things out. And so I really do think that the only way that you could get to that point is by giving us new attractions. And without that coming online for the 50th, without Guardians, without... I think we'll get Ratatouille by then. They seem to be pretty close to finishing that. But, I mean, I don't know.
But they're going to give us a new parade?
Mass parade.
For real. I mean, you don't have time to build anything right now. You obviously don't have money to build anything right now.
Right.
So, yeah, dude, I mean, is it going to... We're just going to have, like, next... Maybe in 2022, we'll have, the 50th 0.20 or something. Because they're definitely, I mean, they're going to want to do something, but I don't see anything happening in kind of a big way next year.
I don't either.
No, I don't see it
and
either.
again, if they weren't hurting financially, then I'd say, okay, well, they'll spend the money because they know they'll make it up. But if they're already talking about layoffs and things like that, which I know it sounds like common sense, but we all learned about supply and demand, right? In school.
Yeah.
So there's not a lot of demand right now.
No.
We've had agents traveling so many times to the parks in the last week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, and it is empty. So,
well, you heard the Downs last week. Yeah, they testified to that.
Yeah, and every picture you see is like there's 6 people on Main Street, and it's like, Jesus.
It's crazy. I mean,
so what do you expect? They can only do so much for so long. Of course, there's going to be layoffs.
Layoffs?
Talk about layoffs.
Talk about layoffs?
Layoffs?
But
good times.
It's not a surprise.
No, you're
it's
right.
not.
You're right. I mean, we had the year of a million dreams. We're going to have 2 years of 50
We're going to have a year of a million layoffs.
That's what it's going to be.
I was going to say them cast members going to have the year of a million nightmares.
And that's the thing, man. I feel bad for the guys that
That's
are going to
it.
be laid off during
Yes.
this time of uncertainty. Who knows if they get a job? There are going to be some lives that are going to be drastically changed, and I feel bad for them.
I do too.
They have no point in that decision making. I'm sorry, they have no stake in that decision
Well,
making.
at one point they felt comfortable that my company has me, as they
Right.
said it before. They're going to take care of these things, but
And it's not just them. I mean, it's like anybody in the service industry right now is hurting.
That's very true.
Like I heard upwards of 60% of restaurants are not even expected to come back in Louisiana alone.
yeah,
Try to go into a mall right now. They're probably about 50 to 60%. I mean, malls in general are already struggling a little bit, but there's probably only 50, if we're lucky, 50% of the stores open right now. And a lot of those stores are never going to open. They're never coming back. There's going to be no more Spencer's or, I'm not Hot Topic or, whatever it may be. So if there's anyone open right now, that's a miracle.
No, that's it exactly. And we were worried about the demand for people going back to the parks. We talked about when we had Jim Hill on the show. Where it was like, I can't imagine that once they say, okay, come on back, guys, we're open, everyone get on back here, I could not imagine that there were going to be a ton of people rushing to get back because, A, you're going to have people scared to travel. I mean, if you can get in a car and drive over there right now, that's fine. But, I mean, still, you're paying peak dollar. I mean, they letting you stay anywhere other than a DVC resort yet, Lee?
there are openings now for moderates, but they're, again, they're not as many. So let's say, for example, you were going to be at All Stars. Well, now you're going to be at Pop, and then that's pretty much it. The Herchers will tell you the same thing because they were been moved around like 3 times, and the only moderate you can get into right now is Caribbean Beach, and they basically refuse to stay there, so they're going to stay at Old Key West. But if you want to be in a moderate, Caribbean Beach. That's it. That's your option right now.
You're having to accept that you're not going to be able to park hop. Your park's going to be closing early every day. There's no parades, no character meet and greets, and this is what you got to deal with. And then if you're somebody who lost your job to boot, I mean, because anybody in the service industry is hurting. Anybody who's a waiter or a waitress, I mean, they're not making the money. I mean, who has the money to do it? Who feels safe enough to travel?
right.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like I said myself, like would I be there right now? Maybe not because of the family and stuff, but for real, if I had money, I would be there, dude. But no, it's not a good time to go drop $4,000.
No,
but you figure
not without fire sale prices where it's like, dude,
sale.
come on down to Disney. It's 50% off.
Blue
And
light
they
special.
need to be doing that right now.
Yeah, but like you figure like this too. Don't forget now, and we're going back to what we just talked about like a few minutes ago. I mean, it's all media. So you have a Disney Plus account. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Like you also like Kevin, you're a DVC member,
Mm-hmm.
right? But you've taken cruises, right? They like some in some
I tried
parts.
to take a cruise. It got canceled.
Exactly.
I don't know when I'll be able to go again.
We don't get, but like they have the
Fall 21 just opened up.
Fall 2021.
Just
so like
opened
they're
up.
gonna cut you a break, but they still have the money from when you were like, hey, we want to go on this vacation.
Yeah, that money's just floating in limbo.
That's what I'm saying.
Literally like a ship.
Exactly. So my point is that look, as far as patrons, as customers, we have invested as much time and money in the Disney Corporation as we possibly can before, during, and after going to the park. It's not like the investment in that brand has stopped. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So I mean, look, Disney Plus. For me, they're taking the money out every month. Cool. You know what the most I do on Disney Plus? I watch Spider-Man cartoons on it.
For you, yeah, it doesn't work. Yeah.
For me, it doesn't work. But they're still getting the investment out of it, and there's not that much left for me to, you guys to do. If you gotta have your business decision be made and you're hedging your bets, don't make me pay for it. I got enough problems.
Well, that's the thing, dude. I mean, Disney needs to understand that they're not the only ones hurting right now. A ton of Americans are hurting, and if you want us to come back and risk safety and stay in parks that aren't open as late and get less of what you used to be able to spend your Disney dollar on.
That's a great put on that one.
Yeah, you need to make... It's like they said in Jurassic Park. There needs to be a coupon day.
Yes.
Coupon day.
And I'm not talking
day.
about 25% off for resorts. They need to go deeper. Way deeper.
Deep in the coupon.
That's the problem. This goes back to Bob Iger. Keep jacking up prices. Now you're at a price point that in order to invite people back, no one can afford it right now. Or no one, for that price, no one's going to risk their safety to do so. Not for what you're offering in return. You can't even offer what you used to offer, and the prices are still virtually the same, Lee. Is that correct?
For the most part, yeah. I mean, like, for example, the Herchers, they had a Sun and Fun offer discount that they were able to continue with their new reservation because they're traveling those dates. But there's nothing unusual as far as discounts or anything like that. It's the same stuff that we've been seeing, and there's definitely hasn't been any mention of any fall discounts.
Okay, well, they need to have the Hope I Don't Die package.
That's a good package to have. I like that.
And that needs to be
The year of 19 viruses.
That needs to be drastically discounted if they want people to go back to the parks.
Well, Danny's been great to keep the riffraff out, Danny. Let me just say, I can enjoy the parks without having to deal with the plebeians.
You know, that's a fair point, Kevin. Why don't they just go ahead and charge the very celebrities who have gone there to the park? Charge them double. They make way more than what we would make. They're getting to go to Club 33. Like, the average goer can't still have those amenities. Mm-hmm. Go ahead. If you're rich and you're giving the rich the perks that the average man or woman cannot get, go ahead and charge them. They can afford it. I mean,
rob the rich and give the poor, like your Robin Hood movie.
Right. I mean, all right, fine. If you want to go ahead and say, hey, we got this going on, there's not much we can do. Sorry, we have to charge you, average goer, for facilities that may or may not be open, but we charge you for the full price, like Danny was saying, as if they were open. That ain't cool.
I can't even get into Typhoon Lagoon. That's like my favorite part of going to Walt Disney World.
And it's a good chance of not getting corona going to the water park.
Exactly. Those waters are doused in chlorine.
Chlorine is no joke.
Did y'all say that Port Orleans wasn't not open? No Port Orleans?
No. It's Caribbean Beach, right, Lee?
Yeah, because the Herchers were staying in Port Orleans and they had to move to Caribbean Beach.
No French Quarter.
No French
There's no
Quarter.
reason to go.
No, I would go. I would look, if we wanted to arrange it and we're like one of these two gentlemen here who just bought brand new cars, we're like, road trip, fellas, let's go drive up there. No lines, no nothing, and we'll go I'd do it because there's no one there.
Oh, yeah, my daughter would not be driving that car that day, yeah.
Yeah, I totally feel safe staying in a Disney park right now with the mask and with I think the
policies are better there than anywhere else around here.
That's exactly it. I think the policies put in place, that's very well said, Kevin, are exceptional, and I would feel safe within the confines of the park themselves. But there again, the value for the money, no,
right,
not there.
Not there.
Yeah. That's fair. That's totally fair. And again, when this is all over, this is the kind of stuff that can come back and bite Disney in the ass as a brand, because the people are like, hey, when you guys were down, we were still chipping out, full prices to help you out. And you didn't really give us the full amenities of what we paid for. So now that everything is over, can we get some sort of break? And this is going to be like, no. I mean, that's going to be something else. When this is all over, we're going to be talking about that. And you're going to be referencing this show episode as far as us, doing our predictions on that. So I think they should have pass that discount across the board just to be like, hey, we still family friendly. We still look out for our people. It's a pandemic. Nobody's fault. Looking out for you.
And that's the true failure of Bob Iger, is that he allowed those prices to get so high. There should have been a plan in place to where it was like, okay, we can see it coming. At some point in time, the business is going to fall off. The dollars, there'll be a recession. We should be able to withstand that. And he never had a plan in place for what would happen when the demand faltered, whether it had been by pandemic, recession, whatever was coming on the horizon, there was nothing in place to withstand it.
Well, this is definitely going to be an ongoing drama as far as how things plan out. We'll be watching in the next several weeks. Now that it is August, we'll see how this all plays out between Universal as well as Disney. Let us know your thoughts about this topic, and we're about to tell you how to do that in just a little bit. Guys, we hoped you enjoyed that discussion about little controversial Disney topics as well as some facts. If you want to learn more about us, magicourway.com is the way to go. There you'll find our social media links, past episodes, and more. And if you want to share your opinions, there's a bunch of different ways you can get in touch with us. Shoot us an email at show@magicourway.com. Leave us a voicemail of our Speak Pipe widget, or you can call or leave us a text message at 1-815-MO-WEEKEND. That is 1-815-MO-WEEKEND 669-4226. And of course, we got a couple of guys to do things outside of the podcast. First of all, we got Eli.
Hey, Rob Liefeld here. Deadpool, Cable, X-Force, Domino, Marvel Comics, Image Comics, all of it. You guys, what is up? Eli Ivory. What a great name. Eli Ivory, comic guru. I'm here to talk about you. I am here to say, check out ivorycomics.com. That's right, you. Check out ivorycomics.com. ivorycomics.com. If you're not doing that, you're missing out. You're missing out. The Savages comic cannot be beat, cannot be surpassed. You need to check it out, experience it for yourself, and you know the story. It's all about the glory. Congrats to you and all the magic that you're making with your Ivory Comics. Eli Ivory, comic book guru. Check out ivorycomics.com, comic book guru, Eli Ivory, the whole package. Deadpool said to. Do it. ivorycomics.com right now. Liefeld out.
That's right. And of course, you can always get a link to this podcast so you never miss a beat. If you want to follow me on Facebook, you can follow me, Eli H. Ivory. Project Geisha has her own Facebook page, so facebook.com/Project Geisha. You can also see me right there on Instagram, eivory504. And of course, on Twitter, you can find me at Hancock10166. So you heard what Rob said. You know the story. It's all about the glory. You make me happy.
He makes you happy.
It makes me very happy. It's a lot of madness, but I got some mad gladness. Thank you.
And if you want to book a vacation to any Disney property, you can do so through Lee. Lee, tell them how to do this.
Just give me a call at 832-431-1621. That's 832 hanging around. 832-HNGARND. Sorry, it's the best I could do this week.
Not using that. Not using that.
I remember that one.
That was yeah.
Youch.
Okay.
You can email me at lee@magicourway. You can find the Facebook page at facebook.com/Lastovica Travel. That's LASTOVICA Travel. Instagram, you got a friend in Lee Travel. And if you do any of that, we'll get you hooked up and booked up with No.
Hasselvika.
In addition, there are so many ways to support the show as a whole, and you can find them all on our website, magicourway.com. Any way in which you can support the show is deeply appreciated. We also want to take a second and thank you for being a loyal listener, and we always love hearing from our listeners. All opinions are always welcome on the Magic Our Way podcast, so get in touch with us today. So, Mohegans, ladies and gentlemen, we say Kwaherini. My name is Kevin.
And I'm Danny.
Magic out.
I have every intention of eating those bananas for breakfast, but I still somehow end up with tacos. Yeah, tacos. Tacos it is.
Have a Disney day. Bye.
Hey, this is Eli from the Magic Our Way podcast.